वीडियो नहीं, इसमें हमारे यहाँ पे कैमरास नहीं है। आप वैसे स्टूडेंट से कंफर्म कर लें उनको क्या कहते हैं, साउंड वो उसके आवाज़ आपकी आ रही है और साथ में जो है वो चैट की ऑप्शन उनके पास ऑन है या नहीं। मैं वो चैट का उनसे पूछना कि उनके पास चैट की ऑप्शन है ना, मैं करता
Students,
हूँ। जी मैम।
Dawood Rana, can you hear us? Rana Dawood, can you hear us? अपना माइक्रोफोन करेंगे आप अनम्यूट?
Yes, ma'am.
आपके पास चैट की ऑप्शन है, कैन यू चेक इफ यू कैन चैट?
Yes, ma'am. आ रही है.
मैंने आपको मैसेज भेजा, इसको रिस्पॉन्ड करें। हाँ, उसने रिस्पॉन्ड कर दिया। सो चैट ऑप्शन इज देयर, थैंक यू। ओके, सिर्फ ये वो एक फाइल खोल दें। थैंक यू। हाँ, आज तो लगता है सारी क्लास ऑनलाइन चलेगी। अच्छा, कुछ पढ़ा डिजिटल आइडेंटिटी पे? एक ही बुक है, उसका अगर एक पेज भी पढ़ लेते तो डिजिटल आइडेंटिटी। एंड आई आल्सो सेड कि इनके ऊपर कोई वीडियो क्लिप भी ढूंढ के लाएंगे। बस वो डिजिटल आइडेंटिटी डेस्कटॉप पे कॉपी करके यूएस पे निकाल दें।
जी। अच्छा ठीक है। जी जी, ये होगा।
किसने पढ़ा एटलीस्ट समथिंग? आपने कुछ पढ़ा उस पे? अच्छा, व्हाट वाज कंफ्यूजिंग? कोई बात नहीं, व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू डू कि वी शुड ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कॉन्सेप्ट्स। दैट्स व्हाई आई सेड कि वो जो टेक्स्ट है मोस्टली वो बड़े बोरिंग है, बड़े कंफ्यूजिंग है। फेमिनिज्म उसको तो you'll have to actually examine, क्योंकि सारे most concepts are new concepts ना. So if you are familiar with what feminists are saying, you can try applying those concepts to, for example, जो हमने एक कैरेक्टर देखा था, याद है आपको which character it was? हाँ, सोफिया। उसको सऊदी अरेबिया भेज रहे थे तो उसका नाम हेलन नहीं था, हर नेम वाज सोफिया। ओके, सो मोस्टली वो कॉन्सेप्ट जो है उनको एक्सप्लोर ही करना पड़ता है कि फॉर एग्जांपल देयर वर कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ कल्चर. सो हाउ कल्चर बिकम्स फॉर इंस्टेंस डिजिटल कल्चर. और अगर कॉन्सेप्ट है आइडेंटिटी का तो हाउ इट बिकम्स द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डिजिटल आइडेंटिटी, राइट. सो अगर आपको वो पार्ट फर्स्ट पार्ट समझ में आ रहा है तो देन वी कैन स्टार्ट थिंकिंग अबाउट द नेक्स्ट वन. ओके. तो आपसे मैं जनरली डिस्कस कर रही थी कि फॉर इंस्टेंस कि मटेरियल्स हैव डिसअपीयर्ड. So that's why I said it's important to understand what how the culture is changing. All right. और उसकी examples you had to find from your own life. क्योंकि while you were growing up, आपको पता नहीं था कि आप you are partly growing up digitally. तो consciousness नहीं थी ना at that stage. So that's why I'm saying the objective is to look at things differently. आपको culture तो पता है what is your culture, what is the culture? जी? How would you describe your culture? We live in a conservative society and so you are talking about culture in as opposed to another culture. For example, Eastern culture as opposed to Western culture. All right. So you are saying culture as opposed to another culture. But what is your culture? What are the elements that you would normally include in culture? Okay, ethics. And what else? Behavior. What else? Norms, for example. Ji? Dowry, for example, dowry is a norm in this society, right? Okay. So dowry is part of which part of culture? Yes, it is part of culture, but it is about how you live. It's not about dowry is not for some, it's not something you eat, for example. Is food part of culture? And is your dress part of culture? Right? Anything else? Is religion your part of culture? Language is part of culture. So digital language is different from the language you speak. Is it? For example, we discussed typewriters in last class, and I said typewriters were invented long time back. And from typewriters to these little devices in your hands, you're typing, but it does not have that long mechanical hand anymore. It does not, you do not press a button. You are pressing a button, but it's a digital button, right? So it's not a mechanical sort of button, and it does not have two hands, right? As I said, typewriter had so many mechanical parts in it, and it knew it would be moving all the way through. ऐसी तो कोई mechanical movement नहीं है in these little devices that you have in your hands. So things have become digital. So that's where the concept of materialism or materials disappearing comes in. जो आपने आर्टिकल पढ़ा है, I'm sure that is far more complicated. So I would not. All I said कि I found this journal online which has same title as Digital Culture and Society, same title as the course. So I said it would be interesting to look at that as well because it had perhaps 5 or 6 subtopics. And in those subtopics, I think as your own knowledge increases, you would gradually understand what those articles exactly mean. So I was I was trying to simplify concepts while talking to you. And I said that if we stick to what is written in these books, probably it will be too dry for most of you. So that's why I said, let's try to make this class interesting and let's try to understand concepts better. And that's where I said, for example, what you would say is Sophia's religion. You know, Sophia has a nationality right now. It doesn't matter. Her creator, did he look like Arab at all? No, no. Most of the time when we are talking about our identities, our parents have same identity. Our creators have, if we call them creators, if we want to call our parents creators, they have same identity as we do. But in case of Sophia, her creator has a different identity, right? So that's why I said it's very interesting that digital cultures and digital societies are very different. And that's why I said when we are looking at societies within these films, for example, Matrix or Sophia's Cliffs, for example, we are being exposed to a different culture, right? So we are basically, you can say कि आपका course code, you can see the course code is 217. Can you see JOU 217? So it's a 200 level course. So it is still a lower division course. It's not upper division course. The article that we were trying to read was perhaps far more complicated, right? So I said, okay, just try understanding concepts. If instead of going to this journal, Digital Culture and Society, if you go to the book has simpler concepts because the book is trying to explain how materials have disappeared. Book is trying to discuss how what comes after humans, for example, a concept of post-human, right? So somebody is thinking about this vocabulary, and that is your job as well, because I said you can agree or disagree with what you are reading, and both are your tasks. You can agree with the concepts or you can disagree with concepts as well. Okay, so one thing that I would like to tell you, the people who are not here and have connected via Zoom, this link is valid for the whole course. So if you feel someday, oh, madam has not posted the link this morning, just use the same link and you will be connected. So this link is valid for all classes we will have this semester, okay? Okay, now going to this thing, today's topic, I said one is for week one. So we tried discussing digital culture in most classes. It's not that we will not discuss digital culture today, because when we talk about digital identity, we are still talking about culture, right? So my question with you before we get into digital identity, what is your identity? Can you try describing yourself? I would say let's start with you. For example, what is your identity? Identity. Who am I? What is it that makes me me? Huh? So instead of saying my name, you can actually tell your name. Ramsha, and my parents are. If you want to tell their names, you can add their names, or if you just want to say who they are. Albanian, Pakistanis, Arabs, whatever. So you can actually talk about who you are. So try explaining your own identity. How would you define yourself? Ramsha, Ramsha, Pakistani girl. What else? You grew up in Lahore, so you would have traces of Lahori culture as well. Do you feel that Lahore is different from Islamabad and Karachi in terms of attitudes of people? Anyone else? How are people in Karachi different from people in Lahore? So you talked about food, that biryani cooking method of Karachiites and Lahoriites is different, right? And Karachiites would probably say कि Lahori को तो biryani बनानी ही नहीं आती. It's possible, right? So Lahori pulao बनाते हैं, लाहौर में तो कोई, मैंने तो आज तक किसी को लाहौर में पुलाव खाते नहीं देखा, प्रॉपरली बनाते नहीं देखा. पीपल आर ऑलवेज कुकिंग सम सॉर्ट ऑफ बिरयानी, और अगर आप उसको पुलाव कहेंगे तो मैं परेशान हो जाऊंगी. बिरयानी को हम पुलाव कहते हैं. So what I am saying actually, in for past so many decades, I have not seen anyone cooking pulao at all, because pulao is something very different. उसका तो वो कलर भी नहीं होता जो बिरयानी का कलर होता है. All right. So what I am saying, कि concepts are different from people to people. Anything else? Anything? What is the difference between people in Islamabad and people in Karachi or Lahore? जी? You are saying their accents are different. कौन अबे यूज करता है? Very interesting. You said Karachiites traditionally use abe, right? So what else? आप देखें, I went to Karachi. Somebody picked me up at the airport. They asked me some question and I said हाँ जी. साथ ही they started laughing and said लाहौरी आ गए. Why? Because G comes first when you speak it. हाँ जी हाँ. They say जी हाँ. And I was coming from Lahore. They asked something and I said हाँ जी. And they said Punjabi from Lahore. So it's quite interesting that order of word reflects on something which is different. आपने language कहा था as part of culture. So all the things that Ramsha mentioned, they are related to identity or culture, right? Anything else? For example, your inner world. Ramsha did not say anything about her inner world. Ji. हाँ, आप साथ साथ बैठे हुए, मैं जरा दूर खड़ी हुई हूँ, इसलिए मैंने ये. So you can try. I will try repeating whatever you said. जी. Of course, you're saying there are different creeds within Pakistan, right? All right. So yes, all these things are very important. Are you familiar that there was a time when this Sindhi identity or a Pashtun identity was eliminated in Pakistan and Sindhis reacted very strongly? Have you heard of it? That there was a time that Pakistan actually eliminated provincial identities. That was back in 1950s. I think around 1956, in the time of Muhammad Ali Bogra, we had East Pakistan and West Pakistan at the time. And because East Pakistan was one unit, they decided West should also be one unit. So provincial identities were eliminated. And Sindhis reacted most strongly. Why? Why did Punjabis not react as strongly as Sindhis? Because most of Urdu speaking community had come to Karachi, which is Sindh. So you can understand that Sindh's demographics were altered very badly, because so much population came to Karachi after partition that Sindhi element was reduced. So when they said that no more Sindhi, you are a Pakistani, you're not a Sindhi, right? And they also eliminated language from Karachi University as Sindhi language as examination language. They said exam will be in Urdu. So how would Sindhi react to it? So that's why I'm saying there are various factors. So you can, here you are talking about inner world of a person. When he learns my Sindhi identity is eliminated and he's reacting to it, right? So anybody else wanting to say something about his or her inner world, something that you can easily talk about? Hello? Inner world, what makes me? My question was, what is it that makes me what I am? Right? So there would be certain expectations by, for example, Your belief. So do you think that your belief is different from your next door neighbor? Okay, the way you think. So you're not talking. What does belief mean? Does belief mean religion or does belief mean way of thinking? Both. All right. How many people agree that belief is both way of thinking and religion? Okay, four, five, six, seven people, but not all of them. G. Is belief different from way of thinking? Is your culture only about your religion? Is your belief only about your religion? So why would you say that belief is about your way of thinking? Belief is different from believing. You're talking about belief. Okay, so that's why where the religion part had come in. So I was saying, are you talking about believing in some sort of religion or you're talking about what I believe in? So believing is different from belief. So, for example, how would you compare yourself with the girl next door? Is she more conventional or modern? And it's possible that in the same house, all right. What I meant that, for example, आपका नाम क्या है? Science said what she believes in may be different from what her parents believe in. So, Saim, have you experienced something like this every day? All right. And how can you give an example? Very conventional, right? Okay. And you think you are not as conventional as are your parents. So, in simple words, you would say, I'm not as conventional as are my parents. Have you ever tried thinking why it is different for you and your parents, why you have become different? Okay, so you think a generation gap is the reason. So, what is the factor behind that gap? What is it that made you different from your parents? Okay, technology. So, you think your technological exposure made you different from your parents. Is that it, or was there anything more than that? Your parents did not go to same schools where they sent you. Their parents were different from yours, right? So basically, they had changed themselves and they probably selected a different path for you. It was your parents' decision to send you to a different school or a better school. In the process, you became different from them, right? At the same time, you probably they were playing probably other kind of sports or games while they were growing up and you were playing something else. So what do you think they have been playing and what do you think you have been playing while you were growing up? You use the word digital, for example, but if you consider both types of things, digital and non-digital, what were your parents doing and what is it that you were doing? उनके फिजिकल गेम ज्यादा थे और आपके डिजिटल ज्यादा हैं. So are you familiar with for example name of any sport that they have been playing, for example? Okay, so they were perhaps playing, they grew playing hockey and cricket. And if you played cricket, where were you playing it? On your computer, perhaps. Football to hai digital, है ना? So which means कि आपकी spaces change हो गई, आपका experience change हो गया. So you think these are the things that made you different from your parents. So does it imply that you are more digital than your parent? So did you think about it before that you were growing up part really and part digitally? जी जी. Okay. So you are saying that you have been watching more Facebook videos. Your mother has been watching. She must be young, younger than me, definitely. So how old is your mother? In her 40s? Okay, so let me, I never remember my password. My computer remembers that, but let me try opening the Facebook page. If I can't recall the password, I will ask one of you to try opening your Facebook because we're talking about Facebook, right? So let me try if I can open it. So you said your mother has been watching videos on Facebook. What do you think your nanny has been doing? Nanny has been your nanny has been spending, oh God, it will not open it because it will ask for something. Where did it send it? It's saying it sent it. Let me try. I never remember. It will not. It will not open it. All right. So, do you think this experience, your mother has been posting on Facebook too? Right. Okay. And do you think the things that you are seeing on this page can be part of my identity or my inner world? The question is, whatever you see, whatever people who are online are probably not seeing it. So let me try sharing screen with them. Was it this page? All right. So my question was, do you think that whatever you see here is part of my digital identity? Is it? Is there something in your pocket that tells your identity? Which ID card is it? Which kind of ID card is it? Uh, do you have it? Can you take it out, please? Uh, all right. So where did you use this identity this morning? Nowhere. Did you use any kind of identity for getting on campus this morning? You just walked in. They didn't ask for your card. जी कार्ड इशू नहीं हुए. You have your old ID card, which is university ID card, and normally university will not use that card. आपका नाम क्या है? Saud. So Saud has CNIC. So it's possible that university will not allow him to enter the campus if you're using that card. हमारा कोई स्कैनिंग का सिस्टम नहीं है ना गेट पे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ यू आर गोइंग टू FC कॉलेज, आपने देखा होगा कि स्टूडेंट्स हैव देयर कार्ड्स, वो गेट पे उसको स्कैन करते हैं. So you have this is one sort of ID card, and your university card is another kind of identity card. That is a university identity card. And you think that university card is associated with some kind of digital information about you? हमारा BNU पे तो गेट पे स्कैनिंग नहीं है, बट एट FC कॉलेज इफ somebody scanning his card or her card at the gate, तो आपको लग रहा है कि that is connected somewhere. हमारे BNU में जब आप इसमें क्लास में एंटर होते हैं, there is a scanner next to door and some people stand there and scan either their faces or thumbs, right? You think that is some sort of digital information about that person, right? So when they stand there niche class ke door pe, there is some machine which is scanning their faces, right? So what information is it? It's what is this person looks like. फेस को स्कैन कर लेगा. सर्टेन एयरपोर्ट्स एक्चुअली पाकिस्तान में हम थम्स बायोमेट्रिक्स करते हैं, राइट? अगर आप दुबई पे एंटर हो रहे हो वो आपकी आंखें स्कैन करते हैं. एंड आई थिंक यू मे हैव सीन सम फिल्म कि वो साइंस फिक्शन टाइप कि वो एक बंदा है हु इज एस्केपिंग एंड रनिंग अवे, वो जहां से गुजर रहा है पूरे सिटी में कैमरास लगे हुए हैं एंड सम कैमरा इज कैप्चरिंग द ग्लिम्स ऑफ हिज आईज एंड स्कैनिंग हिज आईज. वो छुप नहीं सकता, राइट? सो हाउ इज इट हैपनिंग? इट्स हैपनिंग डिजिटली, राइट? सो बेसिकली ये जो मैंने आपके सामने पेज खोला, क्वेश्चन वाज डू यू थिंक that I am saving digital information about myself, and it has become part of my identity. So what they have done, especially with your generation, because perhaps you started using it when you were 10 years old, 12 years old. How old were you when you started using Facebook? 10 or 12? How old were you when you started using Facebook? About same, 10, 12 years old, right? Anybody else? Right. So basically, you created data about yourself before you became conscious of it, what you were creating about yourself, right? And this data, where is it right now? Where is this data? This is not just Pakistani Facebook, is it? No, it's global. And who owns it? Who owns it? आप नाम बोल रहे हैं ना? Which country? You are saying, you are mentioning the name of a person, right? The name of the founder. You are saying he owns it, but behind him is a country, right? And you can understand कि जिसने ये create किया वो university student था. Amazing project. Amazing project. What क्या हुआ? He became the billionaire. ठीक है? But at the same time, you probably know that sometimes when you go for a visa, they are asking about your social media addresses. आपका LinkedIn address क्या है? आपका Facebook address क्या है? आपका Twitter account कौन सा है? And something else. You have collected digital information about yourself while growing up, and it is part of your identity, right? And you don't know कि आपने अपने footprints, these are your footprints, this is my footprint, right? So if somebody asks me what I am, who I am, what I do, etc., and I'm saying, oh, I am a teacher at Beaconhouse National University, my Facebook is actually telling a lot more about me, right? I had a LinkedIn account. I used it for a few years, then I decided to close it, right? So otherwise, my LinkedIn account would be connected with this as well. And it only asks you, आपने फेसबुक में देखा होगा कि it asks you कि should we connect you to all digital information about you. For example, इस पेज पे आपको if I try taking you down, you would see that I am selecting which post is global and which post is for friends only, right? आप भी यही करते होंगे. You are selecting which post is global and which is for friends. For example, this was my son's birthday, so this is for friends only. But if you go further down, you would probably find a post which is global, right? So global, for example, ये मैंने little art का एक डाला हुआ है. So there is this global anyway. If I didn't want it to be global, they have made it global. Little art ने ये डाला हुआ है ना. So I am saying that even if I were selecting, somebody had deselected it because it's originally their post. So basically, you should try understanding it. Perhaps tells you, oh, madam has cats. You can see my cats, right? So madam has family. So probably madam is family oriented. Madam probably likes animals. This is my niece, so I posted a video of my niece. So it means that what kind of person I am? I am probably into family because I am posting my niece's video, right? So I think this is the, and then you see this concept topic and misogyny, music, scriptures, and more. So this probably tells that perhaps Madam should not have posted it because it has a taboo word, right? So somebody would totally disagree. Why did Madam post it? This should be deleted. So somebody among my friends, if he doesn't like it, so that is the objection post कर देगा Facebook पे. It should be deleted. I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even know. And at the same time, somebody else would share it somewhere else because have I posted it globally? No, it's shared with friends only. But this was a conference, right? I could have perhaps I could have opted for global. Could I say make it global? I could say that, right? So which means that anybody who tries to find me on Facebook now would see it. Now would see that I have posted this thing. And I said, I have posted my footprints. My footprint is telling what kind of person I am. I am probably talking about a taboo topic. I should not talk about it. So some people will object to it, and somebody will think that perhaps Madam is not too bothered, or somebody would say, "Oh God, this has to go." Right? Somebody will certainly object to it. So all I said that then it says Eid Mubarak and somewhere else would be Merry Christmas on my page. And then some would say, hey, you are a Muslim, why are you saying Merry Christmas? Right? And on Hanukkah, if I post Happy Hanukkah, so somebody would say कि जी मैडम ने तो यहूदियों को भी पोस्ट कर दिया उनकी. So which means that you are saving digital information about yourself, and somebody somewhere will strongly object to your inner world. You will either try to understand as a Muslim why I am posting Merry Christmas, or you would say I should not have done it, right? यहाँ पे तो अभी सिर्फ ईद मैसेज पोस्टेड था. So what I'm trying to tell you that your identity is about you. What makes it what I am? What makes me, right? So you are posting your identity, you are posting your footprints, you're posting digital information about yourself online, and you started doing it when you were very young. It also means that you have globally saved data about yourself. So it would be easy to understand you, track you, to understand how your brain functions, how your mind functions, how you think, what makes you different from your parents, for example. It probably, if I'm posting Merry Christmas, it probably makes me different from my parents, right? Because my parents, um, I don't know, I think perhaps my father would post it too. But then I don't know. Maybe I am liberal because he was liberal, but at the same time he was very religious, very religious oriented as well. He loved his religion, his beliefs, etc. So I'm saying if he had not saved any digital information, my children have saved digital information about them. So right now, this is digital information about me, and there would be a page of digital information about my children too. You can see how the family is changing or developing just by looking at profile of the parent or profile of the child, right? So ये जो आपको मैंने बुक खोल के दी यहाँ पे, let me stop sharing this and go back to the book that I shared with you. This book is actually talking about your digital identity, your database identity, and your transaction identity, and several other identities. So what I just explained to you is more about your database identity. Any questions while marking attendance? Any comments on or questions about database identity, or are you clear what database identity would mean in that case? उधर से देख लेंगे दूसरी तरफ से वरना आपको somebody would help. This is what some they were helping me last time. ठीक है. So any question about database identity? It's clear, right? कोई बता हाँ दोनों बता दो कोई आइडिया है होगा Alright, so it's very interesting, but more interesting is when you understood your identity, if all of these things become part of your identity. You have partly gathered identity from your mother and partly from your father, right? And also in the process, you realize that your mother has also changed. आप बोल लें जी मैम ऐसे से आप एंड्रू नहीं है अरसलान ईशा प्रेजेंट फाहद हामिद हारिस और आप अपने घर से कोई अगर किसी का फ्लावर के अंदर मेरी जेंडर कोड पास रखो मुझे बस नाम बता दो ठीक है हारिस इकराम ठीक है हसीब प्रेजेंट है हसीब प्रेजेंट है मंजूर हुसैन एब्सेंट मरियम आफ्ताब मरियम लियाकत मोहम्मद अब्दुल रहमान प्रेजेंट है मोहम्मद अहमद भट्ट हमाद खान हारिस खान उबैद खान साइम सामा खैर आपने ये शेयर की अटेंडेंस तो वैकेंसी इज देयर let me share screen so they can also see कि यहाँ से किधर गया हूँ शेयर structure and share किधर है attendance ठीक है so now they can see वैसे सामान भी लगा दूँ कि कोई emergency लगा दें but then you must insist that he listens to the recording right make sure that he listens to the recording ताकि इस question इससे आएगी राना right and राना शेर के it means कि present राना शेर राव मोहम्मद midterm. Which are going to just Aisha, Mehta, Sadhya, South, Kumbal, Temur. Okay, before saving, एक तो मैं show करते हैं so people online can see. Say, speak to them. Uh, we are saving attendance. Please check if you've been marked present. Somebody is saying, आप volume थोड़ा ऊपर. Sorry. किसी का माइक खराब है. Okay. I think it was a girl who said कि I am present. तो आप लड़कियों के नाम देखते हैं ना कौन सी लड़की को absent mark कर दिया. Isha is marked present and Mariam Aftab are there? No, she is not there.
Ma'am, Haseeb Sultan is present.
कौन present है? Sultan.
Haseeb Sultan.
कहाँ है? Haseeb, you have been marked present already. ठीक है? Or anybody else? कोई लड़की बोल रही थी कि मैं present हूँ. Mariam has been marked present. And Nurul Azha, are you there? She's in. ठीक है, बस सेव करते हैं. All right. तो कहाँ पे थे हम? आपसे मैं ये थी कि database. So we have already created database identities about us. और आपसे मैंने कहा कि ये Facebook की database तो वैसे भी पाकिस्तान की ownership ही नहीं है. So you can try understanding complexities around the identities that you have created. So that's where we say we global citizen. और अगर global citizen नहीं भी थे तो somebody has saved data about you in their database. Okay. और जो मैं आपसे बात कर रही थी कि बायोमेट्रिक्स, जो बायोमेट्रिक्स है, हम हमारी फिंगरप्रिंट्स हम देते हैं, बैंक्स को देते हैं, एयरपोर्ट्स पे देते हैं, मुख्तलिफ जगहों पे देते हैं. एंड व्हेन आई वाज, व्हिच मींस कि ऑल दिस all over the world in different computers about me. और वो जो collective data है, हेलो, आपका किसी के सेल फोन में कोई मैसेजेस आ रहे हैं, सो प्लीज उस मैसेजेस की जो टोन है उसको आप म्यूट कर दें ताकि वी डोंट हियर इट. ओके, सो आर यू क्लियर व्हाट आई मीन बाय डेटाबेस आइडेंटिटी? इज एवरीबॉडी क्लियर अबाउट, फॉर इंस्टेंस, ये बंद कर दी जाते हुए. All right, so we had marked attendance, so basically no problem at all. उसको हम देख लेंगे. जी, any question about what I have said so far? Any comment on what I have said? जी, Haseeb Sultan, do you want to say anything about it? Haseeb Sultan, do you want to say something about database identity? No?
Yes, ma'am.
अच्छा.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you clear about database identity? Yes, no?
No, ma'am.
You're not clear about database identity. I said, yeah, when we save data in different computers across the world, for example, when we travel, एयरपोर्ट्स पे गए, फेसबुक पे हमने पोस्ट भेजी, एक्सेट्रा. सो इस सारे प्रोसेस में मुख्तलिफ डेटाबेसेस में हमारे लिए कलेक्ट हो रहा है, राइट? सो दैट्स वेयर द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डेटाबेस आइडेंटिटी कम्स इन. आप जो बात कह रहे थे, you said कि your mother is Arab or your father is a Pakistani, which gives you mixed culture when it comes to food. Right. So I wonder कि students को ये, if they can see this page, because मैं यहाँ से आपके लिए कुछ खोलना चाह रही हूँ. I posted a video here. Let's see which video it is. So आपने जो बात it's very interesting that somebody is talking about identity of his wife. Here, आपके केस में भी female है. You're talking about your mother, right? So let's try seeing कि ये what he's saying. I hope it's not too long. कितना 40 seconds का है?
Managing your projects should feel more like this. That's why you need ClickUp. With ClickUp,
I have a challenge for us today. A challenge for a world where 250 million people are searching for a new home through mass migration. A challenge for a time when 1.8 billion images are posted to social media on a daily basis. A challenge for a society where we need to educate our young for a very uncertain future. I have a challenge about identity. What drives our identities? Are they given or are they created? So today, together, I would like to explore the idea of identity as a creative process. Who are we and what can we become? So who am I? I'm a photographic artist. I was born here in Exeter. I self-identify as 100% British, and I was named after a famous Roman philosopher emperor. But wait a minute. Today is the first day I've been in Exeter since I was born here 50 years ago. My DNA, my ancestral DNA, tells me actually I'm much more French and Scandinavian than British. And the truth of the matter is, I was named after my great-uncle Richard's fabulously foul-mouthed African grey parrot, Marcus Aurelius, who he saved from the southern Sudan in the late 1930s. Now, if you really want to know what drives me, where my energy is from, you only need to know one thing, and that's the loss of my brother Andrew when I was 6. Now, that loss and the subsequent journey of self-realization that continues today has given me an amazing energy for life, a passion for the here and now, and a sense of responsibility for living a life that Andrew didn't get. But isn't that a choice, an act? Have I not just made that up? It's a piece of creation. Now, that creation has been supported throughout my life by photography and the camera. Now, I was given my first camera when I was 10 years old, and I've rarely...
उसको मैं थोड़ा सा आगे करती हूँ because he's talking about his wife, his multiple identities हैं, and how he has invented some kind of digital device that actually आप उससे अपना face scan करेंगे तो that would give you information about multiple identities. For example, he's saying that I was born in etc. लेकिन 50 साल के बाद पहली दफा he's standing there. So identity जो आपकी for instance हमारी identity है अगर आप community रखे ही नहीं और you move away from the world, there will be family members who migrate करते हैं. तो वो पाकिस्तानी identity there is a concept कि जी हम रहते तो अमेरिका में हैं लेकिन we are so closely attached to our family back home कि हम कहते हैं we are there, they are here. आपने ये concept सुना होगा कि we are there, they are here. जिसका रिजल्ट ये होता है कि we associate less with next door neighbor. साथ वाले घर में स्पेनिश रहता है, साथ वाले फ्लैट में हम उससे सोशलाइज नहीं करते बिकॉज वी फील कि वो तो स्पेनिश है, वो शायद फॉर एग्जांपल ही ड्रिंक्स अल्कोहल, हम तो मुसलमान हैं हम न्यूयॉर्क में रहते हैं तो हम स्पेनिश के साथ क्यों सोशलाइज करें? हिज कल्चर इज वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम आवर्स, राइट? And we are talking about my brother, my sister, my mother who is back in Pakistan. So we are more loyal as अमेरिका में रहते हुए we will be more loyal to our country जो कि पीछे रह गई, right? So what I'm saying, और पाकिस्तान में रहते हुए we will probably expect that your mother is more loyal to Pakistan than whatever was her original Arab identity. So that's why I'm saying just try to understand that there are complexities around identity. And then he says that मेरी identity का part is related to loss. तो उसने अपने छोटे भाई की picture दिखाई. So that means कि वो loss also has an impact on identity creation. इसके later part में he is talking about he said कि जी I am कि इसका DNA बता रहा है कि he is not purely British. He said my DNA, इसको शायद खुद नहीं पता था, but DNA is saying कि he is part Scandinavian and part French. White societies हैं, सारे Europeans हैं. So probably Europeans अभी भी intermarriage concept European Union के अंदर मौजूद है कि Britain for example nationality दे देता है अगर आप European Union के किसी भी बंदे से शादी कर लें. So basically you can say कि वो identities have molded over a period of time. जब लोगों का आपस में connection नहीं रहता, you would find people जो कहते हैं कि जी मेरी तो मेरे भाई से 12 साल से बात नहीं हुई, I don't want to know anything about him. ठीक है? और for example which means कि identities become complex for various reasons कि disconnection की वजह से for instance or for various other reasons. So this guy is actually talking about identity of his wife. कह रहा है कि मैंने ब्राजीलियन ब्लॉन्ड से शादी की. अगर आप इसका बाकी का इंटरव्यू सुनेंगे तो ही इज सेइंग कि माय वाइफ इज ब्राजीलियन, शी इज ब्लॉन्ड विद ब्लू आईज. और जो इसके बच्चे हैं तो वो बच्चे फिर हाफ ब्राजीलियन हाफ ब्रिटिश हो गए. व्हाइल ही इज सेइंग कि आई एम पार्टली स्कैंडिनेवियन एंड पार्टली फ्रेंच. और जब इसने जो डिवाइस इसने इन्वेंट किया है उससे इसकी बीवी की जब स्कैनिंग हुई तो दे लर्न कि शी इज आल्सो पार्टली अफ्रीकन. नाउ ब्लॉन्ड, ब्लू आईज, येट अफ्रीकन जीन्स इन हर बॉडी. तो जो भी अफ्रीकन ब्लड है डेफिनेटली आपकी जो जीनियोलॉजी है वो इतनी डेवलप हो चुकी है ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. तो यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि डिजिटल इंफॉर्मेशन जो है जो मैंने आपको लास्ट टाइम फॉर एग्जांपल सोफिया दिखाया था, सोफिया को अगर ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन आप फीड कर दें कि जी दिस काइंड ऑफ ब्लड और जीन्स आर फाउंड इन पीपल फ्रॉम अफ्रीका एंड दिस काइंड ऑफ DNA will be found in people from Pakistan etc. तो सोफिया तो वो स्कैनिंग में ही बता देगी ना कि he is part French, part African, part Pakistani. So basically he is saying कि later part of the interview में when he mentions कि my wife has African blood in her, she's blonde, she has blue eyes, लेकिन उसने जब DNA स्कैन किया तो African traces were found in her blood. तो लाइफ का पर्सपेक्टिव चेंज हो गया. सो जिसको हम कहते हैं ना वाइट प्रेजुडिस और इंपीरियलिज्म, द मिनट यू लर्न कि ओ आई हैव सम अफ्रीकन ब्लड इन माय वेन्स एज वेल, तो आपका वो जो प्रेजुडिस है उस पर इम्पैक्ट आएगा कि नहीं आएगा? आएगा ना, डेफिनेटली इम्पैक्ट आएगा. डज एवरीवन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज प्रेजुडिस? फॉर एग्जांपल, हेलो लेडी, व्हाट इज प्रेजुडिस? It's found in every culture. It's found everywhere in the world. So how would you define prejudice? आपका नाम क्या है? Sorry, Sumbal. Sumbal, please tell me what is prejudice, and do you think that prejudice is part of most cultures in the world? I'm saying try understanding identity and then also try understanding digital identity and how your digital identities are changing your life, your responses to things, etc. Right? So, आपसे जो मैंने क्वेश्चन किया था, can you try answering it? Can you repeat the question? Can somebody repeat the question? What do you mean by prejudice? Prejudice. Question ये था कि मैं आपसे एक prejudice is a human trait. आपका आपकी इस क्लास में तो नहीं, एक और क्लास में भी हैव सम रीडिंग्स ऑन इमोशंस फॉर एग्जांपल, जिसमें जॉय, मूव, शेम, बीइंग मूव्ड, शेम, एग्रेशन, एंगर, इस किस्म की चीजें शामिल हैं. But right now I asked KG, prejudice is a feeling that anybody can have, and I asked you how would you describe prejudice for example. आपको मैं एक बहुत छोटी सी एग्जांपल देती हूँ. वी हैव टाइम, सो आई वुड ट्राई शेयरिंग समथिंग एल्स विद यू. अगर आप क्योंकि कल्चर्स के अंदर हम वी आर ऑलवेज वेरी सेंसिटिव टू आवर कल्चर्स, आंट वी? वी से ऑल द टाइम कि जी हमें अपने कल्चर की बात करें. इसको कैसे हटाऊं यहाँ से? हाँ, हट गया. So now I can try opening something else. आपका जो question था, can somebody else try explaining prejudice? What is prejudice? जी. Biasness, for example. Do you think you are prejudiced? Do you think the person sitting next to you is?
Everyone is prejudiced.
And how would you explain it?
I mean, like, if I find someone who shares the same beliefs as me, I would be more inclined towards them than someone I don't share the same beliefs with.
Let me try make it bigger. Can you read it? Let's try making it bigger. Can you see it has very few questions here, right? It says, हाँ, prejudice को explain कर रहा है. It's only asking कि, for example, let's take an example. Somebody, हम Muslims हैं, many of us or most of us are Muslims. So if we were talking, for example, about Jews, right? Now keeping in mind a Jew, the first question is, would you be willing to marry a member of this group? No. Social distance है, right? So it's talking about prejudice and social distance. No, I was just trying to explain. हाँ, लेकिन मैं आपसे कही थी कि just try to see कि वो prejudice को explain किस तरह कर रहा है कि social distance with people. तो हम cultures की बात कर रहे हैं ना, identity की बात कर रहे हैं. If I identify myself as a Muslim, I would say no. मैं तो I don't want to think about Jews, or I don't want to think about कि my son marrying a Jew, for example, right? जी. Exactly, precisely. So I was saying कि हम most of the times, because prejudice के लिए जो उर्दू word है, for example, वो तासुब है, मुतासिब है. And if we start asking ourselves, we would like to say, no, I am not prejudiced at all. But here are some basic sets of questions about how to measure prejudice, for example. Will you marry somebody, a Jew? Right? Will you be willing कि वो आपके ग्रुप में आके बैठ जाए, आपके साथ बैठ के आपके टेबल पे खाना खा ले? Do you think mother would be willing, your grandmother would be willing, right? So I know that there is my college mate, much junior, but my college mate. She is, I would say, Ahmadi, right? And she was visiting a friend's house, and she said कि खाना बैठ के खा रहे थे friend के घर में. She is Ahmadi, and everybody else. Pakistan ka law has a certain description of Ahmadis. All of us are aware of it. So खाने की मेज पे probably दादी asked कि जी मुझे ये dish जरा उठाना. तो ये बच्ची ने उठा के उसको दादी के आगे कर दी, and she said कि मैं तुम्हारे हाथ से नहीं लेना चाहती. Right? Now she was a guest. Right? But Dadi probably had this feeling of social distance in her. Right? So I am saying कि ये मुश्किल से आपको नजर आ रहा है, these are hardly perhaps 7 or 8 questions कि आप उससे शादी करेंगे, उसको अपने ग्रुप में टॉलरेट करेंगे, आपके साथ वाले घर में आके यहूदी रहना शुरू हो जाए, आपको पता है, या कोई हिंदू ही रहना शुरू हो जाए. So probably you would know कि somebody is watching him. Somebody is watching him because of some sort of fear. So all these things are about our culture, about our society. So I'm just saying कि आप जब digital information save कर रहे हैं, अपनी responses save कर रहे हैं, आपने थोड़ी देर पहले कहा था कि जी माय सोशल मीडिया डज नॉट ट्रूली रिफ्लेक्ट मी, but it does reflect your behavior at least. Maybe it's not talking about your religious beliefs. Maybe you're not posting anything about your religious beliefs. But for example, last year there was an incident in Pakistan. Asia Bibi left Pakistan. उसके बाद there was another incident जब पाकिस्तान में इंडिया का एक प्लेन गिरा. So if you are posting something on any of these two incidents, you are reflecting your, if not directly reflecting your religious belief, your response actually reflects what kind of person you are, right? So even if you are not directly saying, okay, oh, I am Shia or Sunni or Ahmadi, so my response would actually tell something about me, which means कि information can be gathered or deducted. जी आप कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं? कौन कहना चाह रहे हैं? जी हाँ, नाम दोबारा बताइएगा, so I remember your name. हनान जी.
मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ, आई थिंक आसान मुस्लिम, ठीक है, और अगर ये सोशल मीडिया पे मैं लिख देता हूँ मुस्लिम, लेकिन
मैं आप जी एग्जैक्टली जी आप लिखते हैं सोशल मीडिया पे जी.
मैं सोशल मीडिया पे पोस्ट करता हूँ इस्लामिक लाइक हदीस और ये चीजें करता हूँ, लेकिन ये अगले की assumptions है कि अगर मैं मुस्लिम हूँ तो मैं दूसरों को hate करूँगा, ये चीजें मेरे साथ अगर ज्यू रहता है तो मैं इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि मैं उसको हेट करूँगा, उसका बैठना भी पसंद करूँगा, उसका खाना भी पसंद करूँगा, घूमना फिरना पसंद करूँगा.
वो पर्सनल है ना, पर्सनल है, वन टू वन है, एंड योर पेरेंट डज नॉट नीड टू एग्री विद इट. अच्छा, मैंने अभी यहाँ पे फेसबुक खोली हुई थी, मुझे लगता है जीस तो उसको बंद करके जाते हुए. डू यू थिंक दैट फेसबुक पेज इज स्टिल देयर? नो, इट्स नॉट देयर. मैं आपको सिर्फ ये दिखाना चाह रही थी कि फेसबुक पेज पे देयर इज अ पेज जिसका टाइटल है फिल्म म्यूजियम सोसाइटी पाकिस्तान. So Film Museum Society Pakistan posted something जो कि प्री पार्टीशन थी, और प्री पार्टीशन में जो एक्टर्स थे, फॉर एग्जाम्पल दैट वाज अब्दुल हफीज कारदार. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अब्दुल हफीज कारदार माइग्रेटेड टू इंडिया, राइट? एंड फिल्म म्यूजियम सोसाइटी पोस्टेड समथिंग जो कि प्री पार्टीशन, अगेन प्री पार्टीशन थी. And Film Museum Society normally posts anything about India, Pakistan, occasionally about Afghanistan, Sri Lanka भी post कर देगी because data available नहीं है about the region. तो अगर if it found something, it will post that too. So somebody, the minute Film Museum Society posted something on Indian film or pre-partition film, somebody underneath wrote it, this is Film Museum Society Pakistan, please do not post Indian content. Not directly saying this, but implying कि why are you posting something on pre-partition times or something about Indian cinema, etc. So the response was कि this is, the address is Film Museum Society Pakistan. It primarily focuses on Pakistani film content, and then it also adds anything found about Bangladesh or India, etc., or even Afghanistan, क्योंकि उस पर भी data नहीं है. So, but I'm saying कि then it becomes your digital identity that when people, hello, आप अपना माइक बंद करेंगे प्लीज? When you want to speak, only then turn your mic on, okay? People on Zoom, please mute yourselves until and unless you want to comment, and then you unmute when you want to comment. Okay, so आपको समझ में आ गया what I'm trying to say कि your identity is a mixture of so many different things, and people of your generation have created your footsteps, footprints. ये जो आपको मैंने फेसबुक खोल के दिया था, ये this Facebook is telling everything about you, how you grew up, where you grew up, who were your friends, and उनमें से अगर किसी फ्रेंड ने भी कोई ब्लंडर किया तो वो आपका कनेक्शन है, right? So the people who are connected with you are part of your footprint. People who you friend or unfriend or get connected, लोग आपके इंस्टीट्यूशन की वजह से कनेक्ट कर रहे होते हैं. आपने किस स्कूल से पढ़ा, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, where were you? APS, right? APS, Army Public School. So there would be people जो आपसे शायद senior थे या junior थे, but people you probably didn't knew were from APS, वो आपको friendship request भेज सकते हैं, because they try using the APS connection to friend with you, right? So you should understand that you are creating digital identities about you. ये जो मैंने आपके लिए आर्टिकल खोला था, and we will continue this discussing digital identity in next lecture as well. I suggest कि please आप उसको try reading this book, because इसमें से आप कहीं से भी कोई भी चीज़ पढ़ लें, okay? And because this is a big book, I would suggest that if somebody is reading first 5 pages, so somebody try reading last 5 pages, because it would make our discussion better. Because if you are picking up different pages from the book, because some pages are talking about digital identity, some are talking about transaction identity. आपने उस दिन कहा था कि जी आपने you have used your bank ATM card या आपका credit card for payments online. So which means कि वो आपकी कोई transaction identity है, and every transaction is assigned some kind of transaction identity. So we will continue discussing it in next class. It has information about digital person, digital identities, transaction identities, pin numbers, शुरू में कुछ tables बने हुए हैं. So please try going through them. और जो मैंने videos post किए हैं, at least try watching those videos, because you will come across very interesting concepts about your digital identities. Okay, thank you for today. Okay, people online, do you want to ask any question? Because I am closing today's session. So if you have a question, you should ask now. G, nobody, no question. All right, thank you. परेशान तो नहीं हो रहे डिस्कशन से? हाँ, आप जनरली वैसे ही पूछ रही हूँ, एट रैंडम पूछ रही हूँ. ओके, गुड, थैंक यू. Rana Daud, we have